Hi, everyone. Excited to be here in Miami. I actually live in Miami. I'm one of those folks who moved down from New York. Not sure if there's others here. Hi. Oh, you did too? Or no, you're just waving. But if there's anyone thinking about moving down, feel free to reach out. I have tons of advice and thoughts on that. We're really excited to be here. We chatted before, obviously, today. And one of the things I did was actually go on GPT and I actually searched the topic. And before I did that, though, I did some thinking on what we would talk about. And I have to say it was scary because it was literally what I was going to talk about. So, but Chat GPT came out with health and wellness, sustainability, convenience, digital transformation, and personalization. So, literally, that's what we're going to be chatting about today. But very scary world we live in. And I think it's only going to get scarier, but hopefully we can figure it all out together. So my first question to you is, what role within the company do you have and what brands do you work on?
Hi, everyone. Um, I work at Campbell's. How many of you know that we have a snacks division? Okay, very few. So actually, 50% of our sales, company-wise, are from snacks. We have Pepperidge Farm, we have Snyder's, Cape Cod, Kettle, Pop Secret, and a few more. So I think some of us have that in our pantry. And I lead the category for global exports and Latin America. So how we get those products to other countries. So it's a pretty cool and interesting, challenging job. But what we love about is how different and how we need to adapt to our different markets.
You know, it's funny that a lot of us didn't know that they had a snacks division. I don't know, have any of you been to Expo West? Okay. So Expo West is one of the largest, if not the largest, up and coming um, food show in the United States. And it's really in the wellness space, a lot of the brands. And I've been there a few years in a row, and it's incredible to see the up and coming brands that are coming out there. And so I wasn't surprised to hear the amount of acquisition that's happened at Campbell's, which makes this conversation really interesting because Mariana actually runs the markets outside of the United States and Canada, right? If I get that correct. So even more interesting to hear about how they're going about their new brands with it externally outside of those markets. Can you talk about your perspective on M&A from the CPG industry perspective, but also within Campbell's?
Yeah. So M&A it's has been growing specifically in a fast rate in CPG industry and beverages. That's how companies are growing. They're being more profitable. They're getting to different markets or getting outside their core business. We've seen that even Campbell's 4 or 5 years ago acquired Snyderlands from like a snack company. Mondelez has been really aggressive in purchasing and acquiring new brands, niche brands, more in the health and wellness area, or even brands that are complementing their own portfolio. In for Campbell's, Mark Klaus, our president, has just said that they would be interested in acquiring something that makes sense, that would be different from the current portfolio. So I think it's really interesting how acquisitions and mergers are changing and making companies grow and fit into different consumers. And how we approach, maybe not everything has to be like acquisition or merging, but there's also the partnership, joint venture kind of figures that we operate outside the U.S. With co-manufacturers or co-packing. So that's how we grow outside. doing some partnerships and looking for companies or partners that have strengths that we don't, and that's how we grow.
And how does branding transcend into other markets beyond the US and Canada, especially as it relates to the new acquisitions? And we talked about this just, I mean, I'm assuming there's a huge Latin community here, being in Miami. But every country is different. We talked about that, obviously, and even the products within the countries and the heritage brands that exist. Can you talk about your branding initiatives and challenges, and also what's working, what's not working as it relates to going outside of the United States with
Yeah.
M&A?
Mm-hmm. So something that we want to work on is how to be relevant in the market that you're operating at, right? So this big global brand, it used to work, and that's how CPGs would think, that we have a global brand and we're going to have the same logo, we're going to have the same message across markets. That's not working. And now with social media, we can see that everyone wants to feel that they're talking specifically to them. So that's how personalization is vital. We need to adapt to language. So there's someone from Israel, so it's nice to see that she recognizes one of our brands, Snyder's, and she's like, "Yeah, of course, I love the jalapeno and the peanut butter." So we need to be relevant for each consumer. In Spanish, if we're going to be in Latin America, and also adapt to local regulatories. Every day, we're having new challenges or new legal requisites from the countries. So we need to adapt. So at the end is how we have a global brand that people feel it's made specifically catered for them, and even though, for example, in Latin America, everyone thinks Latin America is the same, but we know that a Mexican is very different from Argentinian or Panama. So how flavors, how they use the products, we need to adapt to that. And we were just talking about how and learning how kids are brought up in Mexico that they're eating spicy food since they're so small, eating brands that are so spicy for me at 2, 3 years of age. So that's how we need to really adapt.
I know what you mean. I lived in Mexico in high school. I don't know, is anyone Mexican here? Okay, hi. Um, and I'll never forget, in the bag of chips, they have hot sauce. It's like, and candy is spicy. Uh, they have no limits. At the movie theater, at the popcorn station, there's hot sauce to put on your popcorn next to the butter. So you have to have, I love it. So for me, it was great. But for other people, I think it would be tough. My sister is one of those people. So something I'm very passionate about is sustainability. So I try to weave that into everything I do. I have my reusable water bottle I bring with me, but even when as it relates to the speaking engagements I do, I just did an event with a women's empowerment nonprofit called Next Up. I don't know if anybody's a member. Oh, oh, did I hear yes? Oh, you're a member? Oh, nice. Okay, great. I didn't know that. We did an event last week, and I got to curate the topic, and I did it on D&I and sustainability. So that leads me into this question, which I was really happy to hear about what Campbell's is doing. I would love to hear, for everyone to hear, about what's happening at Campbell's as it relates to sustainability.
Yeah, so Campbell's is one of the strongest companies with sustainability efforts. For the target is for 2030 have 100% of the packaging materials to be recycled. Right now we have we're 95% into that goal, so it's awesome that we're really almost there. Also, big targets about reducing water usage 50% versus like 2017 for 2025. So we have 1 year and a half to get there. Um, Carbon dioxide reducing, also sustainability in terms of uh, products, how we trace where our products come from. We use a lot of vegetables, tomatoes, etc. So how we're helping also our communities to be more sustainable. So I feel very proud about Campbell's culture, how they're always looking for sustainability and how they impact, and not only being sustainable in terms of living like a better place where we go. It's how through food we're helping people to reduce hunger. So that culture of helping and nurturing really transcends just the sales we do.
Are you guys using that in messaging and in branding as when you go to market?
No, not currently. We discussed that. I mean, being 95% almost with recyclable products from our entire portfolio is huge. I think we should maybe comment, like talk about it more. But I think that's an opportunity.
That's great. And then, I think we all have felt the change post COVID in how we are going about our day to day. One of the trends, as I mentioned, when I used AI and it stated was convenience. Can you talk to how that's shifting, how you guys do business in the marketing space as well as innovation space?
Yeah, so for convenience, it's how we help people live their day by day. So multi packs, buying a bag that you can just grab and go. Everyone is on the go. Also having thinking about resealable bags. Also thinking about how we bring value to the consumer, and our innovation comes behind being relevant. So I think the multi-packs uh, are going to keep growing, and how we're going to be relevant with this convenience, and also product that they don't have to uh, crack, or they can just grab a bite and do it really easily. Even for example in soups, how it's easy, add water, whatever, and be more easy value, convenient for the person to just eat and go.
And, you know, I think, I don't know how many of you know the experiential marketing space. That's the space our agency works in. So we do retail sampling, conferences, trade shows, sponsorship activations. But I'll never forget because pre COVID, people would say, what is that? What is experiential? And I would say it's anytime you touch, feel, or taste a product, which during COVID, you could do none of those three things. Um, Needless to say, it was a few traumatic years. We've overcome, all is well. But there's obviously many ripple effects as it relates to that in, when it comes to you couldn't do sampling, retail sampling. And from an innovation, when you're doing M&A and you're bringing new products, you need to taste that product. So in terms of trends that you're seeing within different channels, it can be experiential, it can be obviously social influencer, even influencers. I remember there was a lot of talk about how it was a fad, and we obviously know that is not the case. They've turned into press somehow. We do press events and there's influencers there. I'm like, what's happening? Um, what is happening? Sorry. Yeah, it's evolved. And so the curious within Campbell's what you're seeing, how you guys have changed in the different channels out there and how you're going to market it, from a branding and marketing perspective.
So for snacks, it's pretty important that people try our products, right? So trial is huge. And we leverage on retailers that are pro sampling. For example, Costco, they always have, and people love going to Costco to try new things. And even post COVID, I think that that's something that I would think I would have guessed that people would stop eating or trying. But they love it. So I would say that that's one of our key elements behind sustainability, like sending samples. That has shifted. Before we would do more mailing, like sending like little packages. That has shifted a little, but I would say that social media and also gaming has created this metaverse universe where people are interacting and trying food. So we have some brands that are working and playing there, how they're integrating into gaming, into the gaming I would say life, because it's a lifestyle, and that's something different that has gained strength, and also how people are really perceiving in trying to continue trying new things, and social media again with influencers. They're still important. They're shifted to their strategy a little, and we can talk about that a little later on. But I think they're still important.
And what technology are you using to drive consumer trends and stay ahead of innovation and how you're going to market?
We use different social media, social listening platforms, or understanding not only what people are purchasing, but what they're eating in a restaurant, or what they go and post online and share a picture. So there's this platform we use. It's called Tastewise. We just try and they gather different data points. So now AI has become huge, and all the generative technologies have become so relevant, and how they gather different data points that it would take hours or days for us to gather, and they analyze and they say, okay, people are posting a lot of pasta with pesto, so how pesto is gonna transcend into a soup. I mean, things that it would take us a lot of time to gather all those insights. So I think technology has to play on behalf of us, and it's a really interesting and fun time to be working on innovation and leveraging on innovation and technologies.
So, one of the items that came out in AI was health and wellness. And I'm happy to say that AI was half wrong. So, it cannot do our job yet. Uh, but, and where that is, and we talked about this, is uh, one of the trends coming out of COVID is people are indulging. They're eating things that they normally wouldn't be. They're, doing things a little bit more extravagantly. So there is the space where there is a really big health and wellness organic push, but then on the other hand, there is that, real thing that is happening. Can you talk about the health and wellness space within what you're doing, and then also what I just talked about a little bit, and we talked about as it relates to indulgence and what you're seeing there?
Yeah, sure. So people are looking for better for me products. We found that 82% of people have purchased an organic product. Everyone is looking for healthier ingredients, something that feels natural, but at the same time, as you mentioned, cravings and indulging and my time, or I really want it and I deserve it, has become acceptable. So there's both worlds. I mean, I can eat this cookie or this ice cream with no regrets, but at the same time, I want to buy organic produce. I want to do my green juice in the morning, right? Uh,
It's like Diet Coke and fries.
exactly. Uh, and Campbell's recently launched kettle air fried chips. And it's surprising how there's no compromise on flavor and and crunchiness. So that's how we're innovating and looking for different options. Also, reducing sodium on the canned soups, because it's reality. Everyone wants to feel any better and eat healthier. But if we're selling air fried kettle chips, it doesn't mean that we're not going to be selling Milano that are delicious, and people are also wanting that time. So health and wellness is here to stay, but there's a balance, which I think it's great that we are accepting our cravings.
Beyond the AI topics that I mentioned that, came out, is there anything else that you see being a trend that you'd like to speak on?
So something that we have been seeing in general in the food and beverages space is how we're looking for, and consumers are looking for products that have multiple benefits. So if I'm gonna take a coffee or a juice, I want it to be almost replacing a meal that has collagen, that has vitamins. So how we're looking for added benefits in the products we eat, not necessarily that makes us more fat, but that I feel it's giving me those vitamins or that additional benefit instead of buying three different products. So I think like multi-service or multi-benefit is something that consumers are looking for, and how brands are evolving. And we've seen also in energy drinks how they're adding a lot of vitamins. So younger kids are buying like crazy the energy drinks. Before, Red Bull would be for working until late in the night, or if I'm going out on a party. But now people are and young people are consuming it every day because it makes them feel good. They have the pickup, but at the same time it's giving them vitamins and added ingredients.
In the retail space, what are you seeing changing in the future? Before we did this talk, I was searching online, or I actually saw an article come up about how Walmart just created their first creator platform, which I thought was really interesting, something they're doing. Can you talk about what you're seeing and your place in it, and what we can expect in the future?
So retail is actually one of the spaces where innovation is speeding up, and COVID made that happen. People wanted to go in and out really fast from the store. With finding trends and technology like frictionless payments, how I go in and I don't have to touch anything, and just or self payments or self checkout, buy online, pick up in stores. So that's growing. In Latin America, we also have a huge delivery system. So there are companies like Rappi, there's also Amazon, Uber Eats, that are taking the food and groceries to anywhere. So I think that convenience is helping, the need of convenience is helping that all those technology advancements. And COVID, I would say, drew like 10 years of advancement for retail. And what you mentioned about the Walmart creator platform. I think that's based and inspired a lot on Amazon is also doing it, and how they show and sell what the influencer is using. So we were laughing because it feels like 80s, where you would watch the info commercials that, oh, buy this, I'm wearing this dress. So it's kind of, maybe for the younger generations, they don't even know that exists, but it's how watching a video and people talking about what they're wearing has become the thing, and that also makes Walmart be like in the conversation.
Yeah, the last talk I did with brand innovators was ironically, it was about, I was at South by, and it was on influencer trends. And I spoke with the creative director from Danone. And one of the questions I asked was, how many parameters do you put on influencers when you have them involved with the brand? Do you tell them exactly what they want them to say? Do you just kind of give brand messaging and some handrails, and he said that it's really important that they come with an authentic voice and that it doesn't feel like it's all sales. So they really try to keep it light in terms of how much they drive the direction from a creative point of view, which I thought it makes complete sense. Um, so paralleling that into branding and knowing that you have heritage brands, and there's obviously a huge community that doesn't know that that Campbell's now has this huge snack division, which I think you said was the fastest growing. It's one of the fastest growing um, departments with brands within the organization. Can you talk to about how they go to market, how it's different for heritage brands to go to market versus the new brands, and how that works for you?
Yeah, well, in the US, we're proud to say that we're number one in each brand in its segment. So they're pretty well known brands in the US, snacks and obviously the canned soup, Campbell soup. Uh, Outside the US, Campbell soup has the awareness. People have tried it. And for snacks, it's more on how we were working on the funnel, so consideration, more awareness. So that's how we have to change the way we market our snacks, work a lot on trial, being present, like the basics, being available in the stores. So uh, with snacks, we need to work more on the lower funnel, and then with Campbell's, it's more doing different things. How we teach them and educate them on using the soups for different dishes. So it's more, it's different how you operate and how you interact with the consumer with a well-known brand than just new brands for the consumers outside the US.
How important is it for you, for consumers to know that these new snack brands are a part of Campbell's? And, in the long term, how do you manage bringing new products to markets that don't know the brand, know Campbell's, but you want them to know the new brands, but then do you also want them to know it's part of Campbell's? Like, can you talk about that atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, for now, the corporate strategy is not having this umbrella like Campbell's has different brands. For now, we're working on each brand. It's on its own, like Pepperidge Farm on its own. We do cross activities, for example, goldfish and Campbell soup, because it's a great pairing, or Pepperidge Farm bread with the soups. But it's not something that we're actually wanting to work on.
And then lastly, a more fun slash personal question is, what is advice you would give yourself if in your 20s and 30s from a professional point of view?
So I would say I would be bolder, and I would try and work to find my own voice um, earlier, and work for that. So I would try new things, fail fast, try again, pivot. So that's something that when you're younger, you're kind of scared and going to this path. But now, seeing in retrospective, life is long, so we can fail a lot of times and learn. And you? What about you?
So many. Uh, get your hair blow dried more, blowouts. No, more massages. But I had no money, so it's like, um, no, I think self-promoting myself more. I hate it. I hate posting on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, I have to write this, I have to post about it. So please do it for me. Take pictures, tag me. See, I'm doing it already. But I think self-promoting, I think, is something that, and I joke with people, and I hire photographers when I can to come to events, and because I joke, if a tree falls in the woods, it's the same thing. All right, thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.